Hi everybody, I'm Hannah McAdams with Automatic Spelling, and today I want to talk about some common spelling philosophies. This video is part of my Which Spelling Program Should I Choose series. As I started comparing and contrasting spelling programs, I realized that it might be helpful to explain some of the different and contrasting views towards spelling. Each spelling program was created according to the spelling philosophy of the writer, so it's important to know what educators believe about spelling. This is me as a first grade student. I have dyslexia, and my first grade teacher was not very kind to me. She said, "In all my years of teaching, Hannah is the stupidest child I have ever met." And she also said, "Hopefully Hannah is pretty enough to marry a rich man." So not a very nice lady, but I grew up to become a teacher, and I eventually wrote a spelling program. This is my daughter, and she is also dyslexic. We were working on learning to spell, and she was really struggling with it. We tried several different programs, and there was just nothing that I could help her or to figure out how to retain spelling words. When spelling didn't stick for my daughter, I looked for a better system to meet her needs. And as I studied spelling philosophy, I noticed a lot of conflicting advice. It reminded me of becoming a new parent. Have you read this? You shouldn't sleep train at all before a year, before 6 months, or before 4 months. But if you wait too late, your baby will never be able to sleep without you. College-age children never need to be nursed, rocked, or helped to sleep, so don't worry about any bad habits. Nursing, rocking, singing, swaddling, etc. to sleep are all bad habits and should be stopped immediately. And it goes on and on and on. You can read this if you want, but the point is that we get conflicting advice all the time. Just as there's much conflicting advice about parenting, there is much conflicting advice about spelling. I noticed that because I'm in a Facebook group with some homeschoolers. There's about 50,000 in this particular group, and every once in a while somebody will say, "Hey, which spelling program should I use?" And then people will just name their favorite, and they're giving conflicting advice. So I thought that it would be nice just to kind of take all that advice and put it out there so you can see, what people are saying. I have studied spelling philosophies for about 8 years, and I'm going to break down some common spelling ideas. When deciding which spelling program to choose, it is very helpful to choose a spelling program that caters to the learning style of your student and that aligns with your philosophy about spelling. Okay, in this video, I will strive to break down some common spelling philosophies. I have a very specific spelling philosophy myself, but I'm also comfortable knowing that others think differently than me. That's not a problem for me. The purpose of this video is to present many common ideas about spelling. It is not my intent to try to persuade you toward one particular view. All right, so let's get started. Spelling ability. Some people say that some students are natural spellers and some students will never be good spellers. I have heard this lots of times. In fact, I actually believed this for a long time about myself because I did not become a decent speller until I was in my 30s. So view 2 is spelling is a skill, and like all skills, spelling can be improved through systematic practice. Okay, the effects of reading on spelling. Avid readers are good spellers. If you ask your children to read and you read to your children, they will be able to spell. So that's the first view. View 2 is reading may help students learn to spell, but children with dyslexia and other nonverbal learning differences may not improve their spelling through reading. Okay, how to present spelling words. Students should be able to master a list of 20 or more words every week. That's pretty typical of a spelling program. Or view 2, weak spellers need a much longer time than 1 week to master words. Words need to be practiced until they are automatic. Now, I will give you a hint. I'm not going to persuade you either way, but if you read the word automatic, it's probably what I believe. Okay, the spelling and writing relationship. Spelling and writing are two different skills. We should not expect students to spell while writing. Allow students to use inventive spelling to make mistakes or supply the spelling of the word when they are writing. They can edit their papers later. Okay, that's pretty common. Most teachers use that. Spelling or view 2 is spelling and writing are two different skills. So again, they agree with that. However, there is a way to connect the two skills so that the spelling of words is automatic, at least for the common words. When to introduce spelling. Only students who know how to read should learn to spell, since spelling is more difficult than reading. I see this a lot. And then there are a few programs that say that spelling can be a tool to teach students to read. Spelling is essentially word building, and word building is a key component in learning to read. Okay, so it's not so much that you should always start with spelling first, but some programs say that if they don't know how to read, it's not a big deal. We can teach them to read while we're teaching them to spell. How to organize spelling lists. Okay, this is also a very hot topic. Spelling rules should be organized by rules, phonograms, or word families. Many of the words in the list should follow some pattern so that students can learn them all together. So here we have like a list where there's rules. So this is showing that when you add a silent E, it makes the vowel say its name. So hop to hope and mop to mope. Okay, or if they're organized by phonograms, then we have words that all have an EA in them. Bear and hear and bread and eat. Or if we organize them by word families, then they probably rhyme. They all end in AT in this example. Okay, so that's one way to organize spelling lists. I hear this a lot. I hear lots of people say it doesn't make any sense to just have all these words that have no common pattern together. So this is the first one, to just keep that pattern together. View 2 is weak spellers can typically pass a spelling test that has words that follow the same pattern. So as what I have noticed is if we used view 1 and they all have the same pattern, even weak spellers can usually pass a spelling test for that. But that doesn't mean that they can use them outside of the spelling test. Teaching students to analyze spelling words will help them retain the words or the spelling of those words. So for example, in spelling analysis, this view, here we have the word hope. Well, then students have to say, oh, look, hope has a silent final E that's making the O say O. And there's the word bear. Bear has the EA phonogram that's saying the second sound A. And mat is part of the word family at. So that's a little different than view 1. Okay, how to teach students with dyslexia. Many people believe that Orton-Gillingham approach is the only research-based approach to teach students with dyslexia to read and spell. Okay, and I would definitely agree that it is the only research-based approach, and it is very effective with teaching children with dyslexia to read. View 2 is the Orton-Gillingham approach will teach most students with dyslexia to read and many students with dyslexia to spell. However, some students need more practice to learn to spell than the typical OG approach allows. So the only difference there is they're saying, yes, let's use that same approach, but maybe we need to add more embedded practice. Okay, automatic spelling was created with these philosophies in mind. You can check out automatic spelling in my Teachers Pay Teachers store. I'll put a link in the description below. I hope this helps you a little bit see some of those different conflicting ideas. Again, I'm not trying to persuade you one way or the other. It's just sort of helpful to get everything all on one, in one little video so you can see all the differences. Good luck with your search for a spelling program, and definitely check out some of my other videos where I talk about some of the popular spelling programs and their strengths and weaknesses. That's all I have for you today. I will talk to you next time.